Hi everyone. Just wanted to share some information out. I'm trying to get it out far and wide and sound the alarm to what's happening in our country and in our province. What we're experiencing here is unprecedented. It is a betrayal, I call it, of epic proportions. And it's not without hope. There is hope in this, and I'll get to that at the end of these video presentations. I'm doing a 3 or 4 part series. So, who brought the World Economic Forum's agenda to Canada? It's not who we thought it would be. And as I say, it's a betrayal. Here's a quote from the World Economic Forum summit in Davos in 2015. Thank you, Professor Schwab, for that kind introduction. I also want to thank you particularly for the invitation to speak here that you extended to me earlier this year. Professor, you have made the World Economic Forum an indispensable part of the global conversation among politics, business, and civil society. That was from Stephen Harper. That year and the year before, Mr. Harper sent 4 Canadian politicians, 4 Canadian Conservative Party of Canada ministers, to lead committees there at the World Economic Forum Summit. The Canadian ministers were there in leadership positions, holding, and I quote, bilateral meetings with key international counterparts. The ministers led several sessions related to the WEF's theme that year, the new global context, a world in search of a new order. What we are talking about here is the climate change scam, sustainable development goals, social credit scores, digital IDs, and government-controlled digital currency. The control over all aspects of our lives. Our nephew was recently visiting from Australia, and he showed us his digital ID and told us the story of what they lived through over there, where they were limited to a 5-kilometer radius during one of their lockdowns. To participate in society now over in Australia, you have to scan the QR code on the doorways into public buildings, shops, whatnot, event centers, to gain access, and your vaccine must be up to date to do so. It also tracks all purchases. So 2 politicians that were attending the World Economic Forum summits in Davos in leadership positions were John Baird. John Baird currently serves as Pierre Poilievre's co-chair of Poilievre's campaign team. Joe Oliver was another politician who also led committees there. Mr. Oliver's been involved in lobby organizations and business interests in Alberta here, and it's very concerning to know what's going on behind the scenes. So that'll be part 2 of my presentation. How did the World Economic Forum get to Alberta? Well, Mr. Premier Kenny and the UCP and a lobby organization, Wellington Advocacy, that was put together months into the COVID pandemic. They've been lobbying on behalf of an organization with connections to the World Economic Forum. The name of that organization is Forte, whose CEO happens to be a World Economic Forum global shaper, who has himself lobbied our Alberta government. And I'll tell you who they are. So Forte works by retraining individuals to reach the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals as part of its ongoing partnership with the World Economic Forum under the Sustainable Development Investment Partnership. Forte lobbies the Alberta government to, and I quote, discuss how solutions offered by Forte can support the government of Alberta's goals for job creation and training in Alberta's recovery plan. Quoting Ware, the CEO, Forte is in discussions with 15 governments around the world about using this as part of the coronavirus recovery effort. We're in the final stages. They're actually moving very quickly. He speaks of fighting climate change, to reskill and train people for the green jobs. He goes on to reference Canada in replacing unsustainable industries, this is a quote, such as coal mining, beef farming, logging, and oil and gas. He goes on to say, how do we reskill oil and gas workers and people in unsustainable industries? Think about that, long and hard. That is not good. And UCP candidates are favoring net zero sustainable development goals, while at the same side, from the other side of their mouth, criticizing Trudeau's 30% reduction in fertilizer for farmers. It is all part of the same agenda. So I hope I have everyone's attention. Part 2 will be going into detail of the individuals behind the scenes in Alberta who are pulling the strings to the political operatives, to the politicians who are trying to become the next Premier of Alberta, who do not wish to change anything in the political governance structure. There's too much to lose on their behalf. It is time we stand together and do something about this. There is hope. There's a good movement started in Alberta, a true grassroots movement, where we, the people of Alberta, stand together and we will take back this province, our government, and build a better future for our children, grandchildren, and future generations to come. Thank you, everybody.